As someone who has been told that your voice may not matter when it comes to art, I think it's a way of putting it like at full volume.
Though for most of my
En la
life, I
casa de mi
didn't
abuela
understand what
hay
that
un
meant.
jardín
The world
y
told
allí
me
se
it wasn't
cultiva la
really what it
magia.
was like.
Una
It painted
plantita.
me. Being like a low-income kid, being Latino, you don't ever really think that art is gonna work for you, you know? They always tell you, oh, you have to be like a nurse or a lawyer or a doctor.
It sometimes gets difficult to continue in your art when your art kind of is your identity, especially because a lot of poetic spaces tend to not be centered on the Mexican.
Some years ago, there used to be a playlist on Story. There was a mural there that got whitewashed, and a lot of students talked to one of the professors here on campus saying that they felt like their voices and their culture did not matter. I think about spaces and organizations like the Culture Counts reading series that was born out of the motivation to say our culture does count.
A lot of other poets are creating in a way that their product does not look like anything that's out right now, and I think that's amazing. And just, you know, being authentically yourself and creating, especially now.
I grew up Latino, obviously, but I am a gay man. I am masculine, but I am also very feminine, and I'm okay with that. But a lot of people are not. And especially in the Latino community, there is so much machismo and so much hate for feminine men or queerness. They don't want to accept the idea of you just being free, being yourself. So growing up in the East Side, it's beautiful, but it hasn't been easy.
I wouldn't say my work has ever been explicitly censored, but the way a lot of institutions are is, you know, you have to maintain a certain status quo.
As artists, there could be a fine line between when your art is wanted, when it's aesthetic or appealing.
And when you're invited into that space or when you find yourself in that, then it becomes a question of really feeling what you're allowed to say and what you can't.
And I think as artists, it's our job to push those boundaries and to question things, especially when people are being affected in our community, when their stories are not being told.
And I know a lot of other poets feel that and they navigate that. And I think at least with my poetry, it's always very free-flowing stream of consciousness.
Pointing to the screen about the orange man on TV, and when they ask about who moves the sun, the moon, and aire, diles los mexicanos.
I think beyond producing something that's pretty or pleasing, I just wanted to be very honest. When my abuelo passed, this voice recording became one of these living testimonies and like archived evidence of my grandpa was an artist.
Había un comisario. Entonces, en el municipio les decían al comisario que si alguien que quería entrarle en la revolución, y en algunas partes sí hubo que se levantaban en armas, pero ahí en San Juan.
Him telling stories in the kitchen, that was his poetry to me. And that's like what I aim to do through my poems.
It is my heart, my sister's heart, my mother's heart, my abuela's heart, dreaming of our healing, sweet, tender, golden like the sun.
Whether it's fashion, photography, film, I feel like there's always a message. That's my way of standing up to the current administration to let them know that, you know, we're not going anywhere, we're here, and we're proud.
At our college, we had the amazing Dolores Huerta come by. So I had one poem I did specifically write in, like, who is Dolores Huerta and what had she done for the community and for the movement. The way I rephrased that entire piece was, after all, this isn't a poem, this is a promise to the people, to the struggle, to Dolores. And that's kind of what I ended it on. She asked me to sign the poem I handed to her, and that was still like it was one of those moments, you know, because
Your art is also like, it's that response and how you're gonna change things. I think more than an artist, I think the term artivist, so artivista, has been the term that I gravitate the most to. It really embodies why I do art, what it's for, and who it's for, which is like for my community.
So in my work, I try to incorporate both queer and Latino themes to represent what I believe was my experience in the East Side. Are you ready? It's called The Essence of Beauty. The boy they called improper was simply learning to love the parts of himself that tradition told him to hide. In time, I understood that beauty isn't just seen, it's felt. It's held by queer children of color who turn their pain into poetry and their existence into resistance.
There's always something to be said about how society wants us to act, how they want us to be compliant, what's the right or the wrong place to be an advocate or to speak up. And so I think with art, it's really curating your voice and having the ability to say, you know, aquí estamos y no nos vamos.